I don't have to click it. You can just keep scrolling. And this was dictated by state code. Okay, these are the revisions. All these, any site plan, plat, plot, final subdivision plans within CBPAs shall include the following information. Delineation of the RPA boundary, we're already doing that. Delineation of required buffers, we're pretty much doing that. Delineation of RMA areas. That kind of nails down some of what we're already doing. The RMA boundary, a plat or plan note noting that no land disturbance or vegetation removal is allowed in the buffer area without review and approval by the zoning administrator. Plat or plan noting providing that on-site septic systems must be pumped out every 5 years, or that a certification must be submitted by a sewage handler permitted by the Virginia Department of Health, that the septic systems has been inspected, is functioning properly, and the tank does not need to have solids pumped out. Plat or plan note providing that 100% reserve drain field is required for on-site sewage treatment systems. And plat or plan note of the permissibility of only water dependent facilities or redevelopment in the resource protection areas, including the 100-foot wide buffer area. Might be one more page in there. One more note, a couple more, plat or plan depicting, indicating the buildable area. All subdivision plats shall include a notation that setbacks in yards shown here on are based on current district requirements at the time of approval, but shall not take precedence over any subsequently adopted setback requirements related to any rezoning action or district regulation amendments. And that pretty much summarizes those changes. They're pretty basic. We're already doing, I think, most of these in other areas. So if anybody has any questions on them,
You say we're doing, or does that mean that you're causing anybody who makes an application to have this information?
some of this is encapsulation of what that are in different pieces of it. These are things that have to go on the plats. So these are things we're still abiding. It's nothing that we're not abiding by necessarily. These are notations that have to go on plats, like the delineation of the RMA boundary. That's, necessarily that we haven't done that in the past. The RPA we have, but not the circuit RMA. And the biggest one there is the removal of vegetation and the notation that only water dependent facilities can be located within the buffer. So, any questions? These would, of course, these would be incorporated in the checklist and that type of thing. So the public, any consultants would know.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr. Harris, this is a public hearing, so yeah.
Sorry,
I'll step
I
aside.
didn't see any.
Right. Thank you, Dave. Would anybody from the public like to address this issue? I'll open the public hearing. So in here, I'll close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion to approve the amendment 2023-03 presented by Dave Kretz, the Director of Planning.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Harris. Second by Mr. Jesse. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Harris,
Aye.
Mr. Jesse,
Aye.
Mr. Coons,
Aye.
Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams. I think he nodded his head.
Hang on, he's just got to unmute. Great.
And Mr. Kimbrough.
Aye. Carries. Dave. And Heather, are you presenting the?
Or am I?
I'm gonna let Anne Marie
That's
take
why I saw you.
take this lead and then I will join her in this, but this is a really exciting time. It's something that one of the reasons, it was one of my to-dos when the board hired me. And Anne Marie found a way to make it happen through using some ARPA money. So with that buildup, I'm gonna hand it over to Anne Marie.
2 years ago, administration and the county attorney's office banded together. We embarked on a project to using ARPA funds to make the county codes more accessible. Simply putting them into an organized, unified document. That document, I've got a copy of it here. Bear with me because it's heavy. It's heavy. This is the summary of the county codes. The county codes were formerly alphabetical, more or less, in on a list on the website, but hard to find. There was no searchable documentation. What we have done, or what we've accomplished along with Unicode, is taking all of those, reformatted them into a professional, we said organized document that is searchable, available online and available electronically. And I do need to say that they don't change a thing. So the intent and purpose of every ordinance you have is still intact here. And we can thank, aside from Unicode, I want to make sure that Susan Trainer gets credit because she reviewed this with a fine tooth comb. So to make sure that this stayed intact. The whole purpose of this is simply to make it better, to make your information better available to your public, and that's how we were able to use ARPA funds. I think that's, and today we're asking for your approval.
I do want to echo that. Susan spent a lot. Thank you, Anne Marie, for that, because she worked very hard on that. So with that, we'll answer any questions. If there are none, this is still a public hearing, so we have to open the public comment, but we have to answer any questions.
I have a quick question. Where's that source material? I know Anne Marie said one would be upstairs.
We have a total of 6 documents. One's going to be with me in the administration. One's going to be with the county attorney. One's going to be in the sheriff's office. You have to help me because I can't remember.
Commonwealth attorney and
Commonwealth.
and the judges. And then, but where it's going to be for the public is it's going to be online on Unicode's website, which is where you will find numerous localities. So there's an electronic version and then there'll be a paper version in the administrator's office. That someone calls.
Right, and we'll have a link from our website. So you will, for you, when you want to know something, you'll access it via our website to get to the Unicode portal. And I do actually have a complete digital version of this as well.
Any questions, Reggie or John?
No.
All right, I'll open the floor for public comment.
I actually, sorry, I had one or two questions, Led, if I may.
There being no one in the public here, I'll close public comment. Go ahead, John.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Whose idea was this, getting it all online?
It's John, it was something, this is Heather, this is something I was tasked with when I was hired. And we started batting it around. And then Anne Marie came on board and she found an avenue, she was supportive of the idea and she found an avenue to pay for it. So I'd like to say it was a collaborative idea.
I would go with collaborative.
Yeah.
And I would just offer that it was also female, and I would just say that there's an opportunity for us here in our government to have a more diverse workforce. And it's very much appreciated that even though this was a task that's now years old, you guys stayed with it among all the other things that you've done and do. And I know what those are, and I just really appreciate that. And my final question is, what are we doing to make the public aware that we are caught up with surrounding counties on something that we were woefully behind on? Is there some sort of rollout on the website envisioned? I know it's not a big deal to anybody outside of this office technically, but it is a big deal. Like we're modernizing, and we should let people know that if they have questions about our ordinances, they actually can ask them now in the comfort of their own home. So I'd be curious, maybe not answer here, but make sure that there's an answer as to how we're going to let people know. I'm sure the Sentinel is there and catching this, and that's one way, but we should be proud of the fact that we're cleaning up all of these odds and ends, because we are a healthy community, we're financially healthy, and now we're cleaning up these things. So I applaud both of you, and I again note that it was the females in our office in this instance, and we need more diversity in all of our administration and on our board, I would add. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I can't take all the credit, but like I said, Anne Marie did the heavy lifting and I really appreciate it when Susan took it home with the. Bless Susan for all her editing. She really did read everything. So
Ditto.
with that, if there's no other questions.
I got one question. Since I knew the Unicode and I'm glad everything is like that, but I would like Anne Marie to start on page 1. And read,
I brought this.
and
I am
read.
prepared to do that.
No, it's been a long day. I just want to get a laugh in.
I appreciate that because I gotta find something to do for about another hour and a half, because I'm not used to getting home this early. My wife will think there's a major problem.
As the bachelor contingent of this group, I will find something for us to do for that hour.
I'd like to be represented in the bachelor group if we're completely diverging.
Oh, okay. I'll make a motion that, to adopt the enact of the convocation of the county current ordinance.
Second,
Motion by Mr. Jesse, second by Mr. Coates. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jesse,
Aye.
Mr. Coons,
aye.
Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Mr. Kimbrough,
Aye.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for a very efficient meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
John, you still online?
aye.
How you feeling?
It's actually not bad, guys. I'm up and walking and eating soup, and I'll be home tomorrow.
Great, great. Glad